Hey, yo, brothers, I'm back watching Billy Carson in his interview. I'm gonna go ahead and tap into this.
as a mental prison system.
Once again, he said he sees modern day religion as a mental imprisonment system. And the reason why is because when you go to prison, you're a slave. Many people are slaves to their own thoughts and their own beliefs, and they can't see past their own thoughts and beliefs. And when you align yourself with certain thoughts and beliefs, it prevents you from learning new things. Brothers, you have to be careful with knowledge. You have to be careful with information. The scriptures tell us in Ecclesiastes, do not become overly wise. Why would thou destroyest thyself? A lot of brothers become overly wise and they destroy themselves. And what I find with a lot of people that are heavily into spirituality through Kemet and Egypt and stuff like that, a lot of them are wildly depressed. A lot of them are overly wise from the standpoint they have all this information, but none of it is real knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You have all this information, and all of that information means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. You learning all this stuff, and really none of it really means anything. It's nothing that you really are taking and applying to your life in any realness. It's fake knowledge. It's fake wisdom. It's not real understanding. All it is just information that no one else knows, and you teach that information to other people. And because you teaching that information to other people, you feel as though you're more relevant in life. When in reality, you're not.
It's a way to mentally enslave the masses of people, and it's worked phenomenally. Because if you look at religion, just Christianity alone generates more money in 1 year than all the Silicon Valley corporations, tech corporations combined. You're talking
That's because Christianity is not just a religion, it's a business. It's a entrepreneurship. Being a pastor is an entrepreneurship. Brothers, if you want to make money, you be a pastor. Be a good pastor. And if you want to be a good pastor, you'll be a good motivational speaker. You'll be a good life coach. And that's my issue with the Christian church is that the vast majority of these pastors are not real teachers of the gospel. They're not teaching you the Old and New Testament. They're not correcting people. They're not chastising people. They're not teaching people the Bible, going over the prophecies like they should. Some pastors do, and all credit to them. But in general, when you go to church, you're getting a sermon, you're getting a good word. What they're going to do is they're going to pull out certain verses out of the Bible. They're going to apply it to your life, and they're going to turn it into some type of motivational speech that's going to give you faith, motivation, and inspiration. That's what they're going to do. It's all about faith, motivation, and inspiration. And when you look all throughout the Christian church, that's what a lot of people have. They have a lot of faith, inspiration, and motivation. Some of the most kind hearted people I've ever met in my life are Christians. I know people that are quote unquote Christians in my family that are very loving, kind hearted people, very charitable people, very loving people, very faith based people. They pray all the time. I mean, they really believe in God. They really do. But in general, they don't believe in the God of the Bible and the spirit of truth because it's not just about faith, inspiration, motivation, and things of that nature. And the scriptures does tell us that faith, well, charity and love covers up a multitude of sins. So maybe some of their sins will be blotted out because of that. But in general, the scriptures also tells us, once again, no servant can have two masters. So you have to understand that when you're celebrating Christmas and Easter, you're not dealing with the God of the Bible. You're not aligned with the God of the Bible. You're not spiritually. You don't. The Most High is not dealing with you in wisdom and understanding. That's something they don't understand. But let's tie back into this.
about a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has a lot of potential weight that they can push into.
You can only have an industry that is a multi-trillion-dollar industry like that unless you have a bunch of weak-minded people. That's the only way. And the vast majority of people that are in the church are weak-minded because you don't come to God when you're at your highest. You come to God at your lowest. A lot of people come to the Most High or God in general, the concept of God, when they're going through things in life. And hey, that's good because sometimes the Most High does that to bring you closer to Him. But if it's not sincere, you're not going to stay there long because when you start elevating out of your position, what's going to happen is you're going to backslide back into what you were doing before. The only way that you can truly generate that much revenue each year, quite frankly, is unless you have women, because women are the largest consumers on the planet Earth. That's just a fact. The vast majority of these pastors, they're looking into the audience, and the majority of the people in their audience are women. The majority of the people that are donating to their cause in their church are women. So what are they going to do? They're going to bring out verses in the Bible that don't offend the woman. They're not going to talk about how the woman today is a harlot, how the woman today conducts herself like a concubine, how the woman needs to put away the LBG stuff, how the woman is how the woman is wearing all this fake hair and lashes and all this face paint, and she really needs to stop it. They're not going to correct the woman. How ideologically she's all messed up in the head. They're not going to talk about the woman and how she keeps killing her babies through fetuses and the problem with that. And that she needs to make better decisions with the man that she's laying down with, and really she needs to look for and seek after the covering of her father. She's not going to talk about that. She doesn't want to hear that. She's not going to give you her paycheck if you're telling her that. You're going to pull out verses that are going to make people feel good. Those are what the pastors that make millions of dollars, that's what they're doing. They're going to say stuff that's going to make you feel good. They're not going to tell you the truth. And that's why, once again, most men are not going to be in the church, because the church is meant for the woman nowadays. If I'm a pastor and I want to make money and I want to keep my business afloat, I'm not going to pull out the verses that are going to offend the woman. I'm going to market and cater to my consumer base. My consumer base is the woman.
Politics, financially. And so you're talking about a protected industry.
Yeah, religion enters politics because religion is a very good facade. It's a very good facade. Just the facade that you believe in God, it just makes you seem like a better person. You see this with Deion Sanders. You see this with all these different entertainers, this fake religious act. And the thing is, the church has been made such a mockery of that you can claim God and claim that set that is Christianity, that gang that is Christianity. You can claim it, and you really don't have to put in a lot of work. All you have to do is just be boisterous in your faith. That's all it has to seem as though. You just have to acknowledge God in a lot of ways.
And there's a lot of money there. And unfortunately, the system of religion, it's very contradictory, and it also puts you in a state where you're actually giving away all your power outside. So everyone who's really
And this is the problem with a lot of people that believe in the Egyptology mindset. They believe that everything is within. They want you to worship yourself and seek within, that you can answer your own problems. You have the answers to all your own problems. And don't get it wrong. Don't get me twisted, brothers. The Most High gives us the ability to self-assess. The Most High gives us the ability to solve our own problems. But at some point, we have to humble ourselves to the true source of life. If we're constantly trying to worship ourselves, that's not going to lead to nothing but depression, isolation, narcissism, things of that nature. It's not going to benefit us in the long run. And that's the problem. A lot of people are worshiping themselves. And if they're not worshiping themselves, they're worshiping material objects. Many people worship their phone. They worship food. They worship TikTok, Instagram. Think about how much time you're spending on these things day to day, brothers. Just calling it what it is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being on social media, but in general, there's a lot of people that are going overboard with it. How many of you brothers out there know girls, whether you have a sister or a girl, whatever, these women are on their phones nonstop 24/7. A lot of these brothers are on their phone nonstop 24/7. They're on Instagram all day looking at booty pics. Call it what it is. So you got to put down the idols. You got to focus on the Most High. If you don't focus on the Most High, He's not going to open up your wisdom. He's not going to open up your understanding. He's going to allow that depression to enter into your mind, that anxiety. There's no peace of mind without a true belief in God. And that's the problem with a lot of these people. I know people like this. I've come across people like this. You're going down, you're running down a dead end street. And the dead end street, it doesn't seem like one. There's flowers and the sun is shining and all that, but you don't know that this street leads nowhere. It's a long road and it looks real beautiful, but it leads nowhere.
heavy into religion, they're releasing their power to outside sources instead of taking a journey to inner space and accessing the power that's already inside of them.
It's scary, man. I didn't know it was that much of a money grab.
Yeah. Oh, it's a big money grab. Every day, you look at the numbers. On a weekend, you'll go there. They'll
People say this. Let him continue.
give you the prosperity message, and they'll tell you give till it hurts.
Right.
And then on Monday, it really hurts when you don't have money for your light bill. But
Look, at the end of the day, brothers, he said a lot of people are giving money to these churches and then they don't have money for their light bill and stuff like that. I'm sure he's the same person that's going to try to charge people $30, $40, $50 a month, whatever, for a membership to something or things of that nature. I mean, money makes the world go round. I mean, simple as that. That's just the world we live in. That's how that works. If a person can't, you shouldn't be giving more than you can afford to give. I mean, to think that you're going to receive real knowledge for free is nonsense. Brothers, I've bought several books. I have many books. I didn't get those books for free. Real knowledge, real understanding is not something that's going to be easily attainable. And when you buy a book, you're going to be more likely to read that book because you actually purchased it. Simple as that, man. I have many books, man. Books aren't $5. Books are going to cost you $20. Some books $50. There's books that I have that cost over $100. Like, I mean, that's just the reality. That's what, so if you want knowledge, it's not going to be free. You want real knowledge, it's not going to be free. At some point, I mean, if I even want to make certain videos, I'm not going to even be able to make certain videos on YouTube. I'd have to switch into a different platform. In general, you're not going to be able to get, most people that are teaching you real knowledge are not going to be on YouTube anymore. They have to switch over into a different platform that people have to pay a membership to, like Patreon or something. Why? Because in order for certain people to get their full message out, they have to be on a different platform. This platform has a limitation. This platform has a ceiling. At the end of the day, free knowledge, that's not going to be easy to come by, and you're not going to get the fullness of it if it's free. You have to give something.
pastor's driving away in a brand new Mercedes.
Yeah.
And so,
Once again, the pastor is an entrepreneur and a business owner.
you could the evidence of it is there. And there was a gentleman who came to me one time and he says, "Hey, I'm trying to build this business. I need to get a loan." This guy's heavy religion. He never liked anything I had to say about my version of reality. But I'm friends with everybody. I said, "Why don't you go to the church and ask them for a line of credit? You've been there for 28 years. You've been donating 20% of your income for 28 years. Go there and tell them you need to get $8,000 to build this business."
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do it, of course.
Wow.
So you give everything you got, but you'll never be able to go there and get anything back.
That's crazy.
See?
So what do they do with all the money?
Well, they continue to buy more real estate. Well, the biggest real estate holders and landowners in the United States are churches.
Really?
It's a real estate business.
Wow.
Jehovah's Witnesses is one of the largest real estate companies in the world. Really all about real estate. They have kingdom halls. And so they've gotten to the real estate game. So
Yeah, there are many churches that turn themselves into mega churches. When you buy more real estate, what happens is you can build a bigger church. So now a church that was only seating maybe 300 or 400 people at a time, now you can build a bigger church that can seat 10,000 people at a time. Now you'll lose some of that money on the front end, but on the back end, in about 2 or 3 years, you'll make all that money back. Because if you got 10,000 people giving you, let's say, 10% of their income, you'll generate hundreds of thousands of dollars within no time. So yeah, you buy more real estate. I know there's certain churches in my area, like for example, the Word Church started off as a regular church, nice sized church, probably seated thousands of people. That church broadened its horizons. Now that church has areas in different parts of the city. Simple as that. I mean, now you can have a church that's basically a franchise. The Word Church is a brand. Things of that nature. So that's what we have to understand, brothers. Yeah, churches definitely do invest in real estate. When you have more money, you can do fundraisers, and when you do fundraisers, you can bring more attention to your church. You can get media coverage and things of that nature. It's all publicity. It's very smart. You have to be a business owner. You have to have a business mind. You have to have an entrepreneurial mindset to really have a successful church. A lot of these pastors, they write books because there's a lot of money in writing books. And they're not writing when really the only book they really need is the Bible. But in general, they'll write a book about inspiration and self-help because a lot of people need self-help. This is why T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, people like that, are able to make so much money, man. Tony Robbins, like, this is why people are able to these dudes are able to make tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, because people are so weak-minded. I don't say to myself, oh, I need to read this book. It's people that buy the 48 Laws of Power. And there's nothing, if you want to buy the 48 Laws of Power, fine. But in general, there's people that turn the 48 Laws of Power into their Bible. How powerful is it if everybody has access to it? How powerful is that book? How powerful are those laws if everybody has access to it? I'm just, it's cool to have that knowledge. But in general, it's a lot of weak-minded people. And there's also a lot of people that want to figure out how they can get the one up on a person as well. But yes, real estate. Churches definitely invest in real estate because once again, you can expand and you can make more money.
Buy this land, they build these structures on it, all from donations, and then they own this land, they sell land, they flip properties. It's a big real estate game. It's a huge, huge, huge business.
That's insane. So has there been any proof that Jesus was a real person, a real human at one point?
Oh yeah, he's a real person. There's no doubt. There's a place in Egypt called Coptic Cairo, which I go to virtually almost every year now. Took people there again last year. And the bed that he slept in Egypt is still there. So he was in Egypt from the age of 12. So if you look at the biblical text, he disappears at the age of 12. But where does he appear? He appears in Egypt, right? Ancient Kemet. He goes there to learn the Egyptian mysteries. And you can discover this in a little-known gospel called the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was...
Yes, Christ, once again, we have to understand that Christ, a lot of people try to talk about Christ being super divine and things of that nature, and I understand why people think that, but Christ walked this flesh as man. In order for Christ to redeem man, he had to be man. He had to live the same life as man, walk the same walk as man, breathe the same air as man, live the same way man, live like man. That's how he was able to overcome this flesh, and that's why he's allowed to be our redeemer. That's why we're redeemed, because Christ was a fleshly being. He existed in this flesh and came to an understanding over a period of time. He had to separate himself. He had to take the time to learn, to discover knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and all that stuff.
Left out of the Bible by accident on purpose. And he's there with his mother, and he's learning the Egyptian mysteries, which were taught by Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, who ruled over the land of Egypt for 16,000 years, one person, according to the ancient Egyptians, not according to me.
How did he live that long?
They have these things called rejuvenation chambers. They call them the halls of Amenti.
Yes, it's basically the story and the retelling of the story of Osiris and Heru. There are cultures that practice this. If you brothers watch a series on Netflix, it's called The 100. One of the cultures and tribes of people on that show, they believed in reincarnation. So they believed in this chip that they would implant in a person's brain or whatever, the back of their forehead. And each king, when the one person died, they would just transfer it into the next person. And that was their belief system. That's what it was. They would transfer it into the next person and keep saying, oh no, this person lives forever. That was basically their religious system. Same thing with Egypt. They believe in the concept of reincarnation. This person did not rule for 1,600 years. That system was implemented 1,600 years ago, and they just continued it generation by generation. That's all. Reincarnation is not a real thing.
According to these ancient texts, he says he would put his body in one, and then he would create another body, clone another body, and he would transfer his consciousness into the second body and walk amongst men, but unlike a man, he would say. And then the other body would be rejuvenating. When that body was ready, he'd hop back into that body.
Wow.
And this is why the scriptures tells us to stay away from witchcraft and sorcery and necromancy and things of that nature. Because many of these other nations, particularly the Egyptians, they believed in preserving a body. They try to preserve the body so that they can call back spirits into that body. So basically, let's say I die. Somebody preserves my body, and a few years later, they try to call back my spirit to re-enter my same vessel that I died. Now I enter my vessel and they want me to walk this earth again. That's what they were trying to do back then. Trying to call these spirits back home. That's what they were aligning themselves with, and not understanding you're aligning yourself really with demons. And at the end of the day, when you die, you're at rest in the spirit realm. And if you call back a spirit and you're at rest, and somebody wakes you up out of your sleep and you don't want to be woken up out of your sleep, what do you think is going to happen, brothers? Are you happy when you wake up out of your sleep? No. So what happens is you're trying to tap into demons, really.
Have these halls at the Serapeum in Egypt, at Saqqara, where these ancient halls where they would just put bodies in them and transfer from body to body to body and keep on going and traveling all around the world and working.
That's
doing their
crazy.
thing.
We can't even do that these days.
No, we just started though.
Yeah.
Once again, this is about the retelling of the story of Osiris and Haru. Basically, Haru is a reincarnation of Osiris, and that's what the Egyptian belief system was.
This is a 2045 project out of Russia, 2045.com, 2045.com. Look it up.
Yeah.
Ray Kurzweil has the 2045 project where they've been transferring animals into a computer, which they did a monkey. So the monkey's in the computer, his mind is, but the body's dead. It thinks it's alive, eating bananas and climbing trees and everything else. Then by 2010 or 2012, they were supposed to have been able to transfer a human consciousness into a robot. They've already done that.
Really?
Yeah, and United States as well. DARPA has a project called the Avatar Project. I wrote about this in my book. In an Avatar Project, they have a symbiotic link from a soldier underneath a mountain somewhere, like in a bunker, connected to a field robot. It's kind of like Avatar. And it controls it through a mind connection. And if the robot is destroyed, of course, the soldier doesn't die. The link is disconnected.
When it comes to the computerized aspect of things, brothers, connecting your brain to sensories and things of that nature, you can't deny the level of validity that comes with this, because when you look at things like, let's say, the Oculus, that's what it's called, these VR virtual reality sets, that's what that's all based in, transferring of human consciousness. So they're in the process of doing this. They're trying to transfer human consciousness. Once again, that's a whole nother realm of discussion. But in general, as far as transferring your consciousness into a computer cyberly, I believe that scientists and technology people are doing that. They're in the process of doing that because it's evident in the world. But brothers, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out of this. I think we get the point.